Hi, I'm Tammy. I'm back. I am here today to talk to you about. I actually had a lot of questions on Facebook, so I started a notebook. So I'm going to be answering some of these questions as I go through. The question I'm going to answer today, it says, what therapy has made the most difference? In order to kind of talk about therapy, I think it's important to know what kind of therapy is out there. Again, I live in New York State, so we have an array of different therapies that can be used. One is ABA, and ABA is an applied behavior analysis, and John McCacken actually has written a book about that. But it tries to change behaviors by first assessing the functional relationship between a target behavior, so a behavior the child is having, and the environment this is a very data-driven approach. It is a teacher and a child sitting at a table, and the teacher will ask the child, for example, there'll be like cards out on the table, like a red card, a blue card, and a yellow card, and they'll say put with same, and they'll give them a yellow card, and they'll want them to put with same. If they can't do it, then they'll do it hand over hand and help them do that. And then they build on those, and then once they have made their trials and they actually have passed the trials, they'll move to the next step where they might say, um, give them a yellow card and say, find yellow, and give them the yellow card again, and then they have to do that. And once the trials are met, then they will move on and they'll keep going on it. But this is not something where they're interacting with other children. It is a certified person or an adult that's working with a child, and so it's just them. They're just usually in a cubicle by themselves, and they're working. Um, and they usually work for an hour at a time, with small breaks if possible. There's also DIR, which is the developmental individual. So you actually dive into that child's world. So that's called DIR. This is now where the child is in charge. You go down into what they're thinking. You go into their play world. You do what they want to do. So you actually get onto the floor, you do floor time with them, and if they're playing with trains and you play with trains, you try to get into their mind and see what they're thinking so that you can be part of their world. Um, there's also something called Teach. Teach is a plan that creates a highly structured environment to help the individual map out activities. Um, the physical and social environment is organized already for the child, and it's very visual so that it supports the child and the child can predict what activities are going to happen. So that's Teach. Also, there's something new that's came out. It's called CERTS. It's new. SC stands for social communication, so working on that. ER is emotional regulation, and then there's TS, that's transactional support, which helps support the child's needs. Now, what this program actually does, like I said, it's new. It's going to take those other things that I've talked about and put them under the same umbrella. Um, and you can check out all these different therapies under Autism Speaks if you haven't been there, autismspeaks.com. For ABA, John McCacken's a great guy to check out his book. I've done ABA for other children, not my own children. So the question really goes back to what works the best for your child, or what I've done, what I've seen the most differences. And before CERTS was actually invented, that's kind of what I did with my children. My children started in early intervention, so they do some ABA, and they also do some floor time, and they also do some Teach. So my kids have done an array of different things. My son, who is older, did more of the ABA trials, and it was because of the fact that he is data driven. He needs to know exactly what's going to happen. He needed to work on those things. My second son, he does some ABA, but not as much, because he is he can figure those things out very fast, but he's also behavioral. Um, People who work with your kids too, I think, is important to talk about. You can have early intervention, and you do music therapy. Music therapists can push into your house, or you can go to music therapy classes. There's an OT, which is an occupational therapist. There's a PT, which is a physical therapist. There's a special education teacher that can come into your house. And then there's a behavioral management team that can be put together to help you with behaviors for your child. And then there's speech as well. So there's an array of different things. My children mostly got music therapy, occupational therapy, special education, speech, and then we had a team manager over all of them. So we didn't have a behavior management, but we had somebody who was over them. So that's what I just wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk a little bit about, answer some of the questions, and I'll keep referring to the questions that I get. But if you have more questions, please don't hesitate to ask me about them. I'd love to answer them. But check out Autism Speaks. Check out John McCacken if you're into ABA. And there's great books on all these different type of therapies. But again, I used an umbrella of different therapies, and that works with my kids. My one son, who's still in early intervention, does an array of them. My other son, who's 5 years old, is in an integrated classroom with a one-to-one. So he actually goes into a special ed classroom 30 minutes a day, and then he gets music therapy, special education 30 minutes a day. He has occupational therapy, music therapy, and then he's integrated into a classroom. My younger son is in a preschool program for special needs children, and he gets all of them as well, but he only goes half the day. So that was that, and I hope you have a great day.